All right. Could I get a panelist to give me a thumbs up here that you can see my screen share? Oh, I see Dale. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Excellent. So while we're waiting for folks to continue dribbling in, we'll put the agenda here up on the screen. So we're going to start with the speaker introduction. Have a couple of polls throughout the discourse today, and we'll talk a little bit about IT, service desk trends, industry insights, outcomes of implementing an intelligent virtual assistant. We're going to go over milestones, workplace services, and then we'll finish up with some questions and answers. Excellent. Well, let's just jump right in and start with some introductions. So, well, before we kick off with the introduction, just a little bit of housekeeping. So the webinar is going to basically be 1 hour in length. That's going to be about 45 minutes of presentation, followed by roughly 15 minutes that we've allocated for questions and answers. We're encouraging a very interactive webinar today. So there's going to be conversations between the panelists, and also you have access, all of you attendees, to the chat feature of Zoom. So feel free to go ahead and put your questions in there if anything comes to mind that you'd like us to talk about at the end, and you can have those questions populate throughout our discourse or our webinar today. Very good. With that, we'll just get started. My name is Chris Batias, Director of Sales at Milestone Technology. We also have with us today Dale Berkeley. He's the Portfolio Director of Workplace Services. So Dale has over 15 years of experience working with end user support, both in small, medium-sized businesses as well as large enterprises. Dale has experience supporting CIOs with business conversations and has the ability to talk operations as well. And he has deep knowledge regarding process, ITIL, device management, service desk automation, and benchmarking. And then finally, we have Amit Gupta with us, the head of AI automation and our Center of Excellence at Milestone. Amit also has many years of experience delivering automation to enterprise clients with a great track record of success. So we look forward to all of their input today. Now we'll jump into just a brief overview of Milestone as a company. So Milestone was founded back in 1997, and throughout the years, Milestone has grown tremendously by means of partnering with wonderful clients, many of them here in the Bay Area. And we focus on IT operations services. For workplace services, we do ServiceNow. In fact, we've recently acquired a company that's an elite ServiceNow partner. Only about 100, 200 of those exist in the world and about 50 in the US. We have an AI practice. We provide data center operations, IT relocation, application services, and many more. As a company, we have approximately 2,500 employees around the globe serving our clients, over 200 clients, and 100% of our solutions are customized. And we operate in 36 countries and have capacity to operate in many more as well. But just a quick rundown on Milestone. So service desk and automation is really part of our wheelhouse services, and we have a tremendous amount of credibility in that space. What we'll do is to kick off the conversation, maybe we can have a quick poll to just kind of get a feel for where everybody is at in this journey and discussion on automation. So I'm going to put a poll up on the screen, and this is: at what stage is your organization in its automation journey? So you should see that now. Go ahead and put an answer in there, and when I see the answers start to slow down, we'll back out of the poll here. Very good. We've got several people putting answers in. At what stage is your organization in its automation journey? No automation, seeking options for tool implementation, successfully implemented, or implementation could be better. Great. Okay. So I will go ahead and share that with everybody. So it looks like we've got roughly a tie between no automation and seeking options for tool implementation, and then 22% successfully implemented, and then 11% implementation could be better. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. All right. Great. At this point, what we'd like to do is hand the presentation over to Amit Gupta, who has a demo prepared for us. So we're going to start by jumping right into looking at what the capabilities are for automation in the end user support setting. And then after that, we'll talk a little bit about some industry trends. Amit.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, wherever you're joining from. Thanks for coming here. And of course, we have like 100 slides that we want to show you. But before that, I thought it'll be good to show you a demo of how things work in real life. I'm sure some of you have seen this in your organization. Some of you have probably read about it, heard about it. So let me kind of show you how a conversational AI-based virtual agent can solve or deflect some of your service desk requests which are coming in, right? And one of the key aspects is that it meets the user where they are, right? It could be in different channels. Some companies use Slack, maybe you're using Teams, you just have a web portal, but can be shown in any of those scenarios, right? So I'll quickly start off with Slack, how it looks like in Slack. So maybe, Chris, if you can give me sharing rights.
Yep, no problem. Let's see. Mega, would you mind doing that?
Cool. I think I got the access. So here's the standard Slack interface, right? Of course, like you're used to having people like phone in or email some of the requests, but there are a lot of delays happening when people attend to it. But here you'll see something in real time. For example, I'm an end user and come here to service desk and I say, I'm having 1,000 issues. Just like that, right? I need help with something. So what a conversational AI-based virtual agent does, it understands my natural language. And it is trained to understand what I'm talking about, right? So it's probably around one login issue and people who come in for one login, they have issues with password. So now here you see that's automatically deflecting my issue here from creating a ticket. It says, okay, there's self-service link here. See if you're able to help yourself. I can go in here and reset it myself. Or I can say like, yeah, all right, thanks, that helped, right? So I'll say thanks, bye, right? So it helped me and I saved one service ticket just now, right? But in some cases, for example, we have all in front of bot, right? So sometimes it doesn't really work, right? So I can say, talk to an agent. So what happens now, the bot knows, okay, like, no, it needs to be transferred to a real human agent. So it will see, okay, which agent is available in the system. So here you'll see that's automatically being handed over from Milestone Service Desk to Carl, who is my colleague who's logged in as an agent in the system. And I can say, hi, Carl, having issues with my laptop, right? And now I'm talking to an agent in real time. They're able to see what I'm talking about, or if not, like I can share a screenshot. Okay, let me send Carl a screenshot. So Carl asks, can you be more specific, please, right? So I'll say, this is the issue. And now agent can help me in real time. Okay, this is what's happening. Either they can create a L2 level support or they can give me some instructions here. But Carl, you can close this conversation for the time being. Let's pretend that that's all I wanted here. So here you saw like that a conversational AI agent with a hybrid exit approach, where the bot can either solve your issue or it's smart enough to route it to human agent as an end user. My experience is perfect right now, right? In 30 seconds, I got all the help that I needed. And from your point of view, right? If I go into, say, your ITSM system here. So this entire conversation that's happened, right? You can even get it locked into your system and mark it as resolved, right? So you have a full audit trail. Okay, this is what the user came in for, this is what the bot said, and then this is what the agent said, right? And anything, PDF files or screenshots, whatever the agent was shared, it's saved here in real time, right? So you have a full audit trail here. So this is the power of conversational AI for your service desk. And I said omni-channel. So suppose you already have maybe a ServiceNow portal or an intranet portal. You can even surface it as a chat widget over there, right? So people can come in and ask like, frequently asked questions like, how do I log my time off? And this virtual agent is smart enough to understand, okay, this is a common request, right? And it's helping with the steps. This is how I can solve this issue, right? And these are some of the common things, right? Which may seem simple. Let's do something really complex. Let's talk to multiple systems, right? So I'm showing a different screen to show you that this widget can be in front of anything, right? So I'm just using a blank screen here. For example, I say, okay, I want to reset my password. So now it's taking me through a authorization workflow. It's talking to multiple systems to verify, okay, is there such an user, right? And instead of resetting the password on its own here, it's following a secure flow that's sending me a email links. So let me open it up. So I got a secure link from Okta, which expires in 1 hour. I can click on it. It's following the best practices. I can type in whatever I want, right? Let me just copy paste something so that I do it right. And without knowing my old password in a secure manner, I'm able to access the systems that I needed, right? And here you can capture CSAT or something as well, right? So for example, here I'm saying, okay, I'm super happy. This really helped, right? And even in this case, right, I can say, okay, like I need to speak to someone, right? And I'm in a different channel. Here you see the same colleague, Carl, he has joined in here, right? And he can help me with my issue, which is going on in real time in this channel. So Carl, you can close this conversation. Some of you may not be on Slack or you may be on a Microsoft ecosystem. So let me show you how it looks in a Microsoft ecosystem. So this is a standard Teams interface that we all spend our entire days talking to our colleagues, right? So now your service desk is a new colleague and your virtual agent, you can speak to them. Okay, what do you need help with? For example, I'm in this meeting room, right? So I'll say, okay, I need this TV is broken. I require a new TV, right? So what it does, the bot understands, okay, these are the SOPs of the organization. So first I need to capture some information, right? Is this for myself or this for the room, right? So I'll say, for a room. So just like any human agent, they will try to understand, okay, which room is it, right? So I do not know the full room ID. I know it's like, it's in Indiana or like something. So I'll just say IND. And the bot is like smart enough, the virtual agent is smart enough to tell me, okay, which location are you at, right? So I'll say, okay, I'm here. And it'll automatically figure out what is the process that's required, right? It's a broken hardware replacement. So let's say by next weekend. So you notice like I'm very conversational and bot is just helping me along, just like a human agent. If you pick up the phone or call, they'll try to capture all this information, right? And what it does, it goes in the backend and creates a service request here. And it's smart enough to understand, okay, when is the next weekend, right? And it's giving you confirmation here. And similarly, you can speak to an agent or escalate things if required, like you're not stuck in front of a virtual agent. So let me maybe just say. So similarly, like an agent can come in, right, and help me along, right? So, and you have seen this conversation, right? It's happening. And again, I can say screenshots and stuff like that. So maybe Carl, if you want, like you can close this conversation. And again, like here we connected this to ServiceNow just to show you that we are ITSM system agnostics. So anything that's happening here, right, it's captured in real time. You saw the Jira interface earlier. Similarly, we connect to like all the common ones like Cherwell, like Summit AI, ServiceNow, like Clash tools, right? So we'll talk more about it in a minute. But this is just to show you a glimpse of like what does a intelligent virtual agent looks like across different channels for your end users. Back to you, Chris.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and put the deck back up on the screen. Yeah, great demos. Great demos. And maybe we'll have some questions pop in about those and what some of our other capabilities are pertaining to the virtual agent. Excellent. So at this point, let's have another poll. So this one is basically, would your organization benefit from automated self-service through conversational AI? So let me put that up on the screen for y'all. Poll 2. All right, you should see that poll now. So yes or unsure as to whether you think there would be some benefit in your organization. Excellent. All right. Got some answers still funneling in. Yeah, so it's 100% of the people who have participated in the poll feel that AI would be beneficial to your organization. So put that up on the screen there. Excellent. Yeah, and it does seem like that's where the world is heading, right? Industrial revolution, robots always end up doing things that are repetitive when the technology presents itself. So it does seem like that is the way of the future. Now that we're talking about the market, let's go ahead and jump into that a little further. What are some of the market trends that we see out there? What's driving why automation is being brought into the conversation in the first place? So we'll hand the conversation over to Dale Berkeley now. Dale?
Sure, thanks, Chris. So yeah, due to the new normal, it's almost a bit of a perfect storm, everyone working from home. There's some havoc that's been created in the service desk around some of what's on the screen here, right? Ticket volumes are increasing exponentially. Resolution times are longer. If you're measuring first contact or first level resolution, that could be on the decline. And I think everyone knows that the job market's tough right now, right? Coming to work, getting to work, being sick, having your kids sick, job satisfaction, is down, and hiring is difficult for when turnover occurs. So the impact of this is, customer experience is on the decline. And how do you overcome that? By implementing, a modern service desk solution and an intelligent virtual assistant to sort of help that. So just move ahead here for me, Chris. Some of the things that organizations should be focusing on at a higher level, leadership roles like CIOs or IT directors, they really should be focusing on the customer experience, right? How do we leverage and create that consistency in service, the urgency that our end users want, the measurement around, what's being delivered. Customer experience is paramount right now. So are there things that you can do differently as a part of your digital transformation initiatives to measure better than you are today? And how do we impact that? Customer effort, right? There's friction that gets created when things don't go well or it's not easy to get support. And so 81% of customers who go through a high level of friction are going to share that impactful service that they received. When it's consistent and good, they don't share it as much. But when they have a concern, that's when they start to share it, and that creates naming and branding of the IT service desk of, it's a black hole. I submit a ticket and because of the duration or the effort I had to put in, nothing ever comes back to me and I don't know what's going on. So how do we reduce that effort? And obviously one way to do that is through AI animation. And this is what we're sort of presenting today around how do you invest in the right platform? How do you take that platform forward and use it to resolve, greater than 30, 40, 50% of things that typically your human agents are doing today? And as mentioned, the new normal, everyone's working from home. So how do you integrate systems? How do you make sure that, as Amit said earlier, you touch that customer where they are, whether it's the mechanism that they like to choose? It could be my phone, it could be Slack, it could be some other alternative integration, but how do you make sure that you're being proactive about supporting those folks that are working from home? Just jump ahead here, Chris. And so the reality of the real world service desk, unfortunately, when you consider a bunch of organizations and how they sort of focus or don't focus on what's going on, this is sort of proof that organizations need to take a leap of faith or focus on their digital transformation initiatives, and be more accountable for that performance that I was just talking about. So this is a look inside a real world client. We actually had the opportunity to look at a little bit of their data. A Silicon Valley startup. They've been around for several years. You know, they are a good size organization where they should be able to embark on some of these changes. And they talk to us about our intelligent virtual assistant and how that can help. And so we've done some analysis here. And as you can see, the customer experience in this organization, the mean time to resolve is 118 hours, which is, you know, in business hours, that's approximately 2 weeks of time frame. If you're counting a 24-hour clock, that's about 5 days of time frame. So if I'm an end user sitting at home and I can't get my issue resolved, you know, there's a lack of productivity there. There's that friction and frustration there. And ultimately, if I'm sitting on my hands for 5 days because my ticket's in the IT black hole, that really impacts, obviously, me as an end user, the IT department, and the business as a whole. And so how do we overcome that? Again, this is sort of a real world example and the impact of mean time to resolve and the attributes of sort of what happens as a part of incident or service request management. And so we're promoting the intelligent virtual assistant to basically impact that resolution time, expedite support, and you know, elevate the power of your service desk. So this is another real world scenario where we did some analysis with one of our clients. And as a result of sort of mapping the manual process, it's differentiated here with the AI or the IVA enabled process, where, you know, an end user submits a ticket, it goes into a queue somewhere. There's a period of time where someone takes to look at it and decipher what it's about, sort of the context of the intent of that ticket. It gets redirected to the appropriate group or person who's going to support that. And then potentially a live agent reaches out over chat, or sort of that conversation comes as an outbound contact as opposed to an inbound contact. And in this particular environment, on average, that took about 2.5 hours. So again, when you consider me as an end user sitting at home and I submit a ticket and I wait, what am I doing in terms of being a productive person in this organization towards sort of our overall goals? And so the benefit here in the AI enabled solution at the bottom is effectively the AI enabled bot understands what the user intent is. It can automate the resolution, you know, in some of these cases that Amit showed, and it's going to create the resolution automatically and actually close that ticket with all the right information available. And so the benefit here, as you can see, 2.5 hours to, you know, potentially less than a minute or 2 minutes for a simple interaction. This is a significant impact to not only the IT operations, but also the end user productivity. And so from an outcomes perspective, what should you expect when implementing a virtual agent? These are sort of 4 high-level categories that we wanted to mention around ease of use, operational efficiencies that you sort of just saw, employee productivity obviously as well, and business value. So we'll just quickly jump ahead here on the ease of use. And Amit showcased the ability to talk over many different channels, whether that be integrated in Zoom, integrated into your Google Chat, integrated to Twitter, SMS. When you reach out to an organization today on the web, typically this is the first interaction that you have, and typically it has an intelligent virtual assistant on the front end. So the ability to integrate and offer up the channels that me as an end user would like to consume, you've got a lot of options. And so for this one here, this is an actual look at data. So IVA can automate over 50% of service desk contacts. So again, this is our ability to use our intelligence, some AI models, some data analysis techniques over the last 12 months of a client's data to basically massage that data, normalize it, and create the intents and issue types that potentially weren't there as a part of the data set that we received. Many organizations are struggling to create the right categories, make sure that their processes have documentation in them all, as a sort of the ticket creation process all the way to the end, and how the issue was resolved. And so as a result of analyzing this client's data specifically, we were able to create a number of groups and intents that the bot can understand, things around access requests, onboarding and offboarding, licensing requests. All of these activities can be automated. And in this particular client, the potential here was about 65% automation of the existing sort of ticket and workflow that was created in that environment. So this doesn't happen on day one, but as an evolution of the adoption of these activities as a progress from them being implemented, the potential sort of savings here or operational efficiency or productivity that this creates by completing these types of activities in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes in an automated fashion is exponential. And so what does that savings look like? Milestone can help you create that value and that value position by implementing an IVA. And basically, this slide shows the popular ticket costs. And so this information actually comes from MetricNet. You might have seen it in the industry. I actually saw it last week at a conference I was at, but typically a service desk ticket can cost around $22. And the concept here is, as tickets get moved from different levels in a sort of to the right, that's more expensive. Desktop resources are more expensive. There's been 2 ticket touches, one from the service desk, one from the desktop team, and exponentially it goes up higher and higher. But the concept here is we want to shift left those activities to a lower cost tier, and this creates a reduction in your total cost of ownership. It could actually reduce your service desk size. It can create capacity for your service desk to do more than it's doing today. And so Milestone obviously is offering here a complimentary analysis and feedback and recommendation session around what does that look like for your organization. Using that previous slide as an example, how do we compartmentalize what you can automate, and then how do we facilitate what you can save using our ROI calculator here, sort of an example at the bottom left.
All right, great, thank you, Dale. Excellent, so we'll just jump in right now and have a quick third poll here. This is a brief one. Just would there be any interest in having Milestone provide a no obligation discovery to help you look at your data? So this is something that Milestone does very frequently since we have domain knowledge in this area. A lot of our clients will ask us to come in and provide some analytical analysis of what their tickets look like in their environment. And then what we can do is compare that to what we see in the industry regarding the impact automation might have in your environment. So I'll put that poll out there. Let's see, let me launch poll 3. All right. Just give you all an opportunity to punch some information in there. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well, what we'll do now is jump forward a little bit. Dale, I believe we'll hand it back to you to talk a little bit about Milestone's workplace services.
Yeah, so Milestone has what we call our modern service desk offering, and we're taking into consideration a number of the things that we've already talked about, integrating the virtual agent or the intelligent virtual assistant with our service desk technicians. And so similar to the use cases that Amit showed, we can implement the technology, but we also have our people on the back end, best practices, tools and technology, leadership and oversight, and industry benchmarks to bring along with it. So we can deliver what we're talking about here in a bundled and automated way to scale out to a small organization or a larger organization. And some of the benefits there are on the screen. Unlimited capacity and availability. The intelligent virtual assistant is always on 24/7. Even in the absence of agents being staffed, it can create a ticket, it can resolve tickets. It's going to automatically create those tickets and then categorize them. So it could bypass the service desk and send them to tier 2. It can provide intelligent responses, and it can obviously automate resolution. And in the absence of any of those things happening, there's always an agent on the back end, there to support. And so the potential for ticket escalations to drop, the reduction in your mean handle time or the mean time to resolve, it creates capacity in your service in terms of savings. It also can create cost savings, as mentioned, and then it gives you that creativity at tier 1 to shift left and do more. Do more with those same agents, give them the autonomy to do higher skilled things, and it increases job satisfaction. And then overall, again, the end and ultimate goal is, improved quality and really just a better customer experience overall. So Milestone offers this service today. We can get in touch with you after this session, but just know that as a result of sort of this technology and our best practices with clients doing it today, we offer this as a bundled service in our modern service desk offering. I think I'm passing over to Anna now. Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
So I think the business and the market trends are moving more and more towards augmenting your service desk with certain level of AI and automation intelligence. Now, here's the problem that we have noticed, right? Compared to some of the other software solution purchases, an AI solution is not a commoditized solution. It's not something, hey, I'll just pick one from the market, like they'll be all kind of same, right? So it depends on your audience. It depends on the use cases. There are a lot of things that go into it, right? So at Milestone, since we are platform agnostic, we are channel agnostic, we are tool agnostic, so we are able to partner with you in your automation journey. If you're looking to roll something out at an enterprise scale, right? So there's so many things that you have to consider, right? What channels do you think would be most effective for adoption? That depends on your end users, right? It also depends on what are the integrations that you're looking for, what are the kind of requests that come in. Second is, if I have to divide all the solutions in the market, there are just two main categories. One is bot only, where you either talk to a bot or you go to like your service desk portal and talk to like an agent or pick up the phone. And second is where the bot is the first level of triage and deflection. And then the bot allows a human to jump into the loop so that we have all been there. Like somebody picks up, like we have been stuck talking to a bot which doesn't understand you, right? You do not want it for your end users. Third is like, do you want to build it? Maybe you're an engineering organization, right? You have a lot of resources, you can hire people and build something out, right? The basic tools are available everywhere, right? Or you want to buy it, right? What is the scale at which you want to launch? What are the use cases that you want to address? What is the budgets that you can allocate to it? And what speed you want, right? There are organizations which have gone on a 2-year journey to build something out, and it's worked well for some of them, and there are different outcomes, right? How do you evaluate or select a solution for yourself, right? There's so many things that go into the mix, not just the pricing part, right? The underlying AI technology, right? And then again, you think you're almost at 80% here, right? And you've selected a solution and you've already kind of taken care of things, right? No, that's where your actual problem starts, right? It's not that something that you buy and like you switch it on and everything just works, right? In any AI solution, in fact, in any human solution, right? You do not just hire a person, you have to train them and make them get better over a period of time, right? Same with any virtual agent solution as well, right? So you have to manage all the phases and iterations. And of course, like the most important part, right? You have to be able to measure and track the success of your virtual agent, just like the way you're able to track it for a human agent. So now all these things considered, right? And what is the overall journey, right? It's not just a software solution, right? It needs to have a business outcome for you, right? So that is where we come in at Milestone, and we have, as Dale talked about, we have developed specific data science-based AI models trained on tons of data, where we can map your ticket data to see, okay, what is your AI potential? Is it 20%? Is it 60%? Right? Does it even make sense for you to bring a virtual agent, right? And if it makes sense, to what extent you can save, or to what extent you can impact your, like lower your MSTs, FRTs, and all the key metrics, right, for your service delivery. And then of course, making the business case, right? How much dollars you're going to allocate and how much return you're going to get in first year, year 2, year 3, how it's going to proceed. And of course, like then the building blocks, right? So what are the components of your IB solution? So here's the thing, right? It's not just like a few chat-based solutions, right? So a virtual agent can even orchestrate some of your processes, right? It can take care of some of the workflows that your maybe L1.5 or the L2 agent is doing, right? So that is where the actual benefit starts accruing. Of course, like at the first level, the bot being able to answer some of your FAQs, it's a win in itself, right? But then again, you have to maintain, iterate the solution and keep on making better in the organization. And the final is actionable analytics. So most of the solutions that you see in the market, they just talk about the empirical data, the primary data. Okay, these many messages came in, right? These many conversations happened, right? But then what is the level of automation you got? Which are the use cases which are succeeding? Which are the use cases you thought are relevant for the user, but users are staying away, right? So, or which are the use cases that users need more help with and they're more amenable to talk to a virtual agent, right? So this is where we bring our broad-based expertise in the market to turn that empirical data into actionable analytics, right? That you can drive your business delivery towards. Maybe Chris, if you can move to the next slide.
Yeah, this is our summary slide, which I'll jump in and take this slide. Thanks very much, Amit. Thanks for that coverage on some of the challenges. And I'm kind of continue that line of thinking a little bit as we deal with this summary here. So in review, we talked a lot about automation today, how it comes to bear in the end user experience, and whether an organization is embarking upon taking this journey into automation on their own internally, or whether they want to leverage a service provider with expertise in this space. These are basically the 5 different items that you're going to want to keep in mind and account for as you embark upon this journey, right? As you can see in the center of the slide, all of these are obviously included in Milestone's fully managed AI services, but let's kind of go around starting with the upper right-hand corner there, people focused. So this is not just focusing on the end users. That's more the third point at the bottom of the slide. This is more focusing on the array of engineers and subject matter experts that are required to implement, maintain, and advance and develop your automation solution over time, because this is a very dynamic solution. And since we're talking about bots and virtual agents, these are things that can be improved over time and pivoted and changed to meet your requirements and the challenges that you're facing. So making sure that you have a team of people, the proper resources, we're caring about their career development, making sure that the resource pool has all the same benefits of working in the corporate environment, diversity, growth, and other aspects such as that. So keeping your employees satisfied and happy is definitely a big part of this. Then moving down to service excellence. So with automation, you're really signing up for, like I mentioned, an ever evolving and improving service that changes over time. So you're going to want to make sure that your service is data driven, that you have metrics and reports that you can run, that you're capturing what's going on in your environment. You understand a baseline of where you're starting from, so you know what success looks like. And then ITIL best practices around continuous improvement. Really having a dialed in and properly defined and engineered service is critical to making sure that automation is successful in your environment. Then down to the bottom of the slide, the seamless user experience. So really the success of automation in your environment can be boiled down to user adoption. Are users going to use the service or not? So understanding what the users are looking for and their interpretation, their definition of what a successful implementation is extremely important. So that's a big part of what Milestone brings to bear as well. So CSAT surveys and timely resolution of issues. In fact, what we've noticed is that when automation is implemented properly in an environment, right, most people pre-automation will seek out, how can I get to a human as quick as possible? Because they have this mental idea that I'm going to get my problem cared for faster and easier if I talk to a human, right? But when automation is really deployed properly, that changes, right? That thinking becomes more, hey, if I can get this done in an automated fashion without having to talk to a person, that's going to be the fastest, easiest way for me to get resolution of this particular problem I'm facing right now. And so that's what we look for. We look for the smartest use cases that are going to result in the highest user satisfaction. And that's going to actually drive users to the automation rather than away from the automation. Another thing that is very important is innovation. So automation provides potential and possibility for endless applications in an environment. So you're going to want to be equipped to pursue new and innovative ways of applying your AI. And one way that would apply is up at the top left, technology. So most environments are chock full of different types of technology. The Milestone solution is, as we mentioned, it's platform agnostic and tool agnostic. So, most organizations take that same approach when they're implementing automation, is to find a solution that's very flexible, malleable, something that can integrate with all the technologies that they have in their environment so that they can take advantage of the largest number of use cases and thus have the greatest ROI to their automation. So that's a basic summary of what we talked about today. And as mentioned, Milestone is more than happy to consult on any or all of these high-level topics. All right, that brings us to questions and answers. So we've been watching the questions come in our chat. So let's go over a couple of these, and maybe I can present the questions, and Dale and Amit, you guys can jump in and answer them. So the first one looks like, can you share an example, case study, or results of IVA implementation from a recent client?
Yeah, I think we can work offline to get an artifact and share it out. We'd want to sort of talk to you directly about what sort of output and outcomes you're looking for and whether or not the specific example would help you. The alternative is our option to look at your data and determine sort of what the potential outcomes for your environment is. But yes, we can share that after the session.
Okay. And Amit, maybe from your past, since you have so many years of experience providing these solutions to clients, can you give an example of how automation can have a dramatic impact with when implemented properly?
Yes, I think one of the recent examples is a large global firm with over 30,000 employees. And they rolled it out for the first time on a messaging channel, Slack. And the adoption was viral, and automatically, like, everybody went to that virtual agent because they thought that they're getting the help faster that they needed. And second thing, they're already, because we were in the middle of a pandemic, right? So everybody is working from home, and so happened slowly their organization from like an email-based ticketing moved to like direct messaging-based support. So people had started messaging individual agents directly on Slack and other places, right? Which is never a good way to track all the data, maintain an audit trail, and like, no, it's not very good for service delivery, and also not good for the peace of mind for the agent, right? So once they rolled it out, everything got centralized. All the users, they like 90% plus users gave positive feedback across the board, and it really solved the issue for the agents as well. So I think that was very good. So much so, the organization moved from Atlassian to ServiceNow during the course of the year as a strategic move because they wanted to put a lot of other systems on ServiceNow. But this solution was based on Jira and Slack, right? What the organization did, like the users forced it to that we want the same solution on ServiceNow as well, right? They were happy with the virtual agent process, and we helped them with that, right? So I think that's a huge win where your users are saying, look, I'm happy with this and I want it. I don't care what ITSM system you're using at the back end, right? But this is how I want to be serviced. So there's that.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. I know you mentioned ServiceNow just now. That was one of the questions, was about ServiceNow and whether this can be done on ServiceNow. So maybe you can just take a moment to mention because we looked at Slack backended by ServiceNow, but what are the other options for, what systems can be integrated together?
Sure, I think the answer is easy. As of today, we have ready one-click integrations with all the common ITSM platforms like Jira, ServiceNow, Cherwell, Summit AI, like you name it, we have it. And specifically for ServiceNow, right? So ServiceNow is not like it's a huge platform, right? At Milestone, I don't know if you have seen our LinkedIn feed recently in the last year or so. We acquired a company called Covistic, which is an elite ServiceNow partner. They're barely like, I don't know, 150, 200 of them globally. And Covistic is one of them, which gives us deep expertise, not just for service desk, but across the entire spectrum of services that ServiceNow provides, which is why I think we are better placed to bring automation, especially on ServiceNow, like across the board, like be it process orchestration, SCCM, like whatever you name it, we have it.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, another question would be, what does our pricing look like?
Easiest answer, it depends, right? So we do not, because as I said earlier, like it's not a commoditized solution. It's not like a CRM you're just buying by the seat or Slack license, whatever it is, right? So it all depends on your audience and what they require and what do you think you should automate, right? So based on that, it's a science as well as an art, right? Where we work with you to understand, okay, how it can make sense from the business side of point of view, as well as from the service delivery point of view, and come out with a custom pricing, right? And the pricing depends on your actual ticket data that you've seen in the last, say, 6 months, 12 months. And it's not something which will leave very nebulous. So as Dale mentioned, we have developed AI models which can analyze that data and tell you, okay, this is your AI potential, this much how it's going to cost you, and this much money you're going to save. So you have all those calculators and everything ready, but it is custom to your organization. So I hope
and just to add to that, it would be we have customers who are interested in consuming it on a per user basis, on a per ticket basis, a fixed fee as an example. So again, it's sort of customizable from Amit's perspective there to whatever the client is looking for. We can basically customize it to meet their needs, I guess, Chris.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, the one thing that we've seen in our real life experience has been that pretty much universally there, when you model the financial aspect of deploying AI, there's usually a price per ticket decline over time, right? And that will naturally come from the fact that, if you choose the right solution, and this is why, with the previous summary slide, you really want to look at the various technologies you have and the potential implementations and integrations of your automation with other platforms, other tools that are in your environment, right? Because the more you can leverage automation, the more tickets you can resolve, and the more tickets you resolve with the bot, the lower your price per ticket is going to be, right? So some clients choose to go with maybe a lighter solution, something that an automation tool that might not be able to have as many use cases as the ones we're looking at. But those, you're going to be kind of static regarding the amount of cost savings you can realize in your environment. But when you have a more powerful automation tool like the ones that Milestone have selected, you're going to have much greater opportunity to leverage that tool in ways tomorrow that you might not think of today, right? And for every use case you implement, your price per ticket drops. So that's a great question, right? There's all, and that's part of the services that Milestone can provide with our consultation, is we can help you understand what that financial modeling would look like in your organization. Okay, a fourth question here. What kind of benefits or ROI have you seen? So other than financial, what other ROI benefits have we seen?
Yeah, I think we talked about a number of them around operational efficiencies and end user productivity, specifically. Creating capacity by removing a whole bunch of work from your service desk. Just consider carving out 20% of the things that used to come by phone or by email and not having them come anymore. The return on investment for that is that those tickets are now solved the same way consistently. The customer experience increases, and that frees up potentially 20% of your workforce at the service desk to do something else, right? That's the notion of shifting left and taking potentially what was done at tier 1.5 or tier 2 or the desktop team administrating Office 365 or the MDM platform could be done at tier 1 now, as an example. A little bit extra training, a little bit more documentation, and now you're creating new processes and outputs from the service desk that weren't there before. So from an operational perspective, it's not just a dollars and cents thing, it's a operational capacity thing as well from an ROI perspective.
Drop in here, and I'm sure it's never captured in any of the common software solutions. But if you look at from the point of the end user, right? I'm a new person who joined a new company, right? I'm just waiting to get access to Salesforce. I need to sell, right? I can't see the accounts. I need to access my say XYZ software, or I'm a new designer who joined a company. I need access to Adobe Creative Suite. I can't log in, right? My device is not set up. My multi-factor authentication is not set up. I don't know how to log in my timesheets, 100 different things, right? So as an organization, even though it's not captured internally, you're losing a lot of time, money, and users' hours because they are just waiting for the IT help desk to help them, right? And if we really start quantifying those savings that a virtual agent can kind of provide, right? At least for certain use cases, those go into millions in any organization of mid-size and above, right? So I think the ROI is not just from your budgetary perspective, it's from the perspective of the customer experience for your end customer, as well as your employee experience for people who are servicing those customers, right? So I think everything accrues together.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Well, that's all the questions we have, and that brings us close to the top of our time. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who's attended today. We really appreciate your interest, and thank you very much to the panel for the coverage of today's materials. Everybody have a great day and a happy holiday season.
Thanks,
very
Chris. Thanks, Dale.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye-bye,
everyone.
everyone.